Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of STATURDAY Chat Live here on April 22nd, 2023. Today, you know what today is episode-wise? Today is the 50th episode of STATURDAY Chat Live. I cannot believe we have done 50 of these live streams so far. It seems like just yesterday that we started them, and it's just been a great experience so far. Can't believe we're up to 50, and I'm looking forward to the next 50 episodes of STATURDAY Chat Live. So if you are new to the stream, this is how it works. So we tend to go around 30 minutes to 60 minutes, depending on how the conversation goes. The questions or comments don't always have to be about statistics or anything. They can be around that topic, or it can be something, whatever, as long as it's appropriate. So you can ask or comment about anything. You can also, I encourage everyone in the chat to talk with each other. So if someone has a resource they want to share with everyone, please put that in the chat. If someone asks a question, feel free to answer their question. You can, at them or whatever else in the chat. It's just not me talking to you, it's you all talking to each other, and so on and so forth. So I want to make this as interactive and as helpful to everyone as possible. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over a few newsy type things with the channel and stuff like that. Then we'll talk about a few topics, and then we'll see where we are in terms of the chat. So as always, let me know where you are watching from. Some of you misfits, I know where you're from because you come back every 2 weeks. But if you're new or want to share where you're watching from, please go ahead and drop that in the chat. I would like to know it. I'm sure everyone else would like to know that too. Of course, I am located in today the beautiful, little bit chilly, but beautiful Ohio. Everything is blooming. Everything's turning green. Springtime is upon us, and it is just really nice, except for the pollen and the allergies. That's the bad part. But otherwise, everything is turning green. It's really nice. So, happy Earth Day to everybody. So, I'm gonna put my Ukraine banner up because I turn it off when I do that. So it's always have that up. So it is Happy Earth Day. Just one fun fact about me is that my favorite photo of all time is the Earthrise photo taken on Apollo 8. Well, I think that that sums up humanity. That sums up everything. So the Earthrise photo is my all-time favorite photo. I have it framed here somewhere. So happy Earth Day, everyone. Let's make sure we do our best to look after our planet. It's the only one we've got. All right, so let me go to the chat. What do we got here? The Island of Misfits. All right, so hey Piper, how's it going? Cheers, my friend, cheers. I'll be doing some of that later. Those clinking beer glasses like that. Clyde, good to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. Praya, hello. Again, I always try to say everyone's names correctly, but some of them I'm not familiar with. So if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. You can correct me phonetically in the chat, and I will try to do better next time. So I'm gonna grab a drink of water. It is kind of dry in my house. So I got to drink some water. All right, Piper, cheers. Hello. All right, Priya, yes, amazing. It's amazing to have you here. Amazing to have you here. Yep. Also, Earth Day, nice. Yeah, nice coincidence. Absolutely. Clyde is from Waterloo, Ontario. Excellent. Piper, the cold Denver. I guess it's that kind of weird time of year, right? Where it's kind of like same thing here. It's really cold and it's really hot. And it's really cold and really hot before it just gets hot. All right. I'm here from India, crazy summertime here, absolutely. Yeah, it's when I have viewers that are in different parts of the world or different hemispheres, it's always, I gotta remember that it's flipped potentially, right? So right now it's springtime here in April, lovely. Excellent, yeah, so we're in India, friends, Bangalore, and Pune, yep. Yes. So I always say I hope to make it to India at some point in the next few years is my goal. Before I'll be 47 this July, so I'm hoping to maybe make it to India before I turn 50. So that's my goal. But it's excellent, excellent. All right, so keep putting questions, comments, thoughts, brain droppings, whatever else in the chat, either directed towards me or at each other or whatever else. You can just float out a topic and we'll start talking about whatever that topic is, as long as it's somewhat relevant to what we do here. So a few updates about the channel. So you probably saw, hopefully you saw. So last week I released another video on time series. It's about the quadratic trend projection model. So that is out. I'm currently working on the next video. So when I leave here after the stream, I'm going to go up to the coffee shop and sit and do some work on that next video. I do want to shout out to the amazing coffee shop up the road that takes care of me. You know, I've done it before, but you know, everyone there does such a great job making me feel welcome there and giving me a nice place to work. And they're also nice and kind, and I appreciate that very much. So many people to name, you know, up there. If I named everyone, I'd probably forget somebody, but you all know who you are up there. And if you're up there now, I will see you very soon. So yeah, so I have a new video in the works. It's on Foltz double exponential smoothing. It actually rhymes with my name. So Foltz, spelled differently, of course. So H-O-L-T, double exponential smoothing is a very interesting technique. So I'm working on that. I'm probably about halfway done-ish with where I want it to be. So hopefully today I'll make some progress, and I hope that video will be out maybe next weekend is my goal. So we'll see. The thing about that video is every day I come up with a new idea I want to put into it. So, you know, hopefully the idea train will kind of stop and I can go ahead and make the damn thing, right? So new video on the way, working on it as we speak. I'm gonna work on it today when I go up to the coffee shop for a couple hours and see where I'm at. So I'm checking the chat here. Yep. Oop, I think I had that up there. Yep, here goes in Bangalore. I keep asking people, like, if I were to come to India for the first time as a person who lives in the United States, who doesn't travel a whole lot overseas, if I were to come to India for a first timer, what's a good city to start in for, you know, a United States person who would be coming there for the first time, you know, like a gentle introduction to India for me. If you have your thoughts, other people have had their thoughts in the past. If you have yours, feel free to put it in the chat. Let's see here. Piper, could you please elaborate? Please elaborate on that, and I'll give you my thoughts if I can. Yeah, on that note, if you happen to ask me something that I can't answer, you know, off the top of my head in the chat or in the live stream, you can always message me on LinkedIn. If I have time, I can send you a quick reply or whatever else. You know, time is limited, so if it's something really long, I may not get to it, but if it's a short question, I'm happy and easy to get a hold of on LinkedIn. Sean, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, absolutely. I do want to come to India. So I'd love to come there and see what I can. So yeah, absolutely. Bangalore is a good one. Fast-paced life. Yeah, it might be good. I'm at the age now where I like to relax, but that might be a good introductory city for me. Sean asked, yes, I was about to ask you about the Holt-Winters method. So yeah, Holt-Winters will be, you know, part of of a video at some point in the future. So it's on the list of topics I will definitely get into. There's so many. Once you get into time series, there is just so much, so many different methods. Some methods are very similar to the other ones with just a little tweak. Some of them overlap with regression, of course, and then, you know, it can get kind of crazy from there. So Holt-Winters is definitely on the list. I cannot guarantee you when that'll be, but it is definitely on the list. I know it's a popular thing to discuss and a popular method. So I would like to learn more about it myself. So that will be on the list of videos, but I don't know when. So stay tuned. Right now I'm able to do about a video every 2 weeks because of course YouTube is not my full-time job. So I have a full-time job. Then I also have my house to keep up by myself and other stuff to do. So I can only do about one video right now every 2 weeks. Let's see here. Harsh, hello. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Crisis and research, especially social sciences. P-hacking and phishing, other no-nos. What do you think are good solutions to this problem, if you're familiar with it? P-hacking I've heard of. Phishing you can maybe elaborate on. I'm not in like the research space, maybe like I was when I was a grad student. So, I will say that if it's in the research area, it has traditionally been left up to peers, like peer review, peers, to be the sort of gatekeeper of looking out for these type of things. So maybe it's better editors at journals, maybe it's better peer reviewers to look over the data. Part of the problem too with this is that in an academic environment where there is such pressure to publish, so publish or perish, that can incentivize certain researchers to do certain things in order to get their study published because they have to for tenure or whatever else, So there's a carrot and a stick here. There are incentives to do this kind of thing in research at times. If there's like grant money on the line, then that can be part of it too. There's incentives there potentially, depending on who is funding that research. There is pressure to come up with a certain result. That's why it's very important to look at any research in the sense of who's funding it and all those sorts of things. So, reproducible research is great, especially when you use certain tools like R or whatever else, where you actually can give the reviewers the code and say, oh, here it is. And actually there was a series of videos I was looking at when I'm still learning R, but when I got into learning R a lot, it's a professor up in the Northwest, Seattle University, somewhere up in Seattle. His whole mantra is about reproducible research. So having the data and all the code and everything, and that is submitted as part of the peer review process. And that can be one way around it, of course. So there are lots of moving parts in that question. I don't think this is necessarily anything new. This has always somewhat been around. So there are multiple ways, I would say, Piper, to help with this issue in terms of policing internally the research community with peer review and editors, having a submission process that requires the data and the code to be submitted with the paper potentially, and then also rethinking the incentives in the research space in terms of funding and publish or perish and stuff like that. So, those are some thoughts. Those are some thoughts. Okay. So I think, Piper, I hope that gave you some thoughts on there. All right. Let's see here. So Noah, are you planning advanced stats videos? Are there any specific topics that you're interested in? So advanced stats videos can mean a lot of things. So if you have any specific topics you might be interested in, list those out, and then I put them down in my little book here that I keep notes on for any topics that people want. Obviously, right now I'm working on time series videos. So if I do any more stats videos, it's going to be probably down the road a bit, but I'm always looking out for ideas people might have. So, yeah, so I'll put those up on the screen. Let's see here. Clyde, hey Brandon, wanted to log in today, share some good news. We love good news. I recently got a contract to do stat analysis of the scoring system in a mobile game that involves a lot of fun probability stuff. Excellent. I got the job partially thanks to interview prep with your videos, so thanks. If it goes well, could lead to lots more work. Excellent. Yeah. Congrats, Clyde. Everybody who didn't see that, give Clyde a clap in the chat. That's excellent. That's excellent. So I'm glad the channel was there to help you and and whatever else, but you did all the hard work. So if you don't go to the video and watch it and learn from it, then none of this other stuff happens. You took the time to do that. And these are the sorts of events that become more probable by putting in that work. There are no guarantees, but it makes these things more probable. So you took the effort, you took the initiative, Clyde, to go out and learn all that. And then when the time came, you had that available, and here is the result. Will this always be the result for everyone? No, but it makes this kind of result more probable. And we're all very happy for you. That is fantastic. So congratulations. I hope this leads to more work. I'm sure that you're working with them as colleagues and having good communication and stuff like that will also play into future work. So kudos to you. That is awesome. Let's see here. I'm going to go back up. Keep the chat going. We're doing good here. Pretty Witty. Hi. Thank you for your video content. You are doing really well. Well, thank you. How did you get to this point of teaching complex topics so well? The answer to that question, Pretty Witty, is that in the order of things I would consider myself, being a teacher and explainer is number 2. The first one is being a learner. So I'm a learner first, teacher second. So my entire life, I could sit here and talk about this for 5 hours, so I'm not going to. I'll try to keep it short. So me and my brother's parents, when I was born, they were 19 years old. Okay, they were very young when I was born, but they knew that the best path forward for a better life for us was through education. So our parents had me and my brother in educational activities, educational toys, educational television from the moment we popped out, basically. So my whole life and our whole lives has been centered around the idea of education. So I'm more of a math and science type person. I've always loved math and science. My brother has a photographic memory. He can remember things from decades ago. He was in the National Spelling Bee twice. So he has that sort of mind and skill set, and I have sort of my mind and skill set. So the reason, to whatever extent I can explain complex things so well, is that when I encounter them and I want to learn them, I have the ability to completely break it down into all of its parts and see the relationships. And then in my mind, to learn it, I can put it all back together. And as I'm putting all those complex ideas back together, what I'm doing is reassembling it and reteaching it to myself. And then that gives me the ability to take the position of a learner outside of myself, another mind, another learner, and think, this is how I can communicate that to other people outside of me. And that is sort of how I approach, learning and breaking down, reassembling, and putting back into the world, sort of my way of doing that. Is my way of explaining these things the best way? No, there is no best way. Each person finds the resource that speaks to them best. And maybe the way I explain it is best for many of you all in here. Maybe the way, StatQuest explains things is the best way. Maybe you like both of us. Maybe there are other ways. There's no right or wrong. You just find the one that resonates with you. So that's sort of I try to make it a short story. I apologize. But the primary way I'm able to make the videos and explain things and teach things to others is because at first I'm a learner. And for it to make sense as it comes into my mind, sometimes I have to break it down and reassemble it and then put it back together. And the putting back together part is teaching myself, then it comes to you. So I can elaborate more on that if you want, but I don't want to completely just get everyone glazed over. But that's the gist. All right. Congrats, Clyde. Absolutely. Excellent. Congrats. We always congratulations for Clyde. Absolutely, man. Awesome. Awesome. Let's see here. Oh, so no, you asked planning on advanced stats videos, and then you said things like neural networks, and then decision trees, ARIMA. Of course, I'm going to get to ARIMA. Maybe tips for Kaggle. So let me take some of these. Whoa, I'm way behind. So let me take a few of these at once. Okay. So the overall answer to your question, Noah, is yes. So I don't know when. Here's the thing. I can't, I'll get into this more in a second. But I've already been planning for more advanced topics in the idea of data mining, machine learning, these advanced sort of statistical techniques and so on and so forth. I already have it mapped out in my head. I've already played around with how I want to do it, like some preliminary things. There are lots of folders on my hard drive, well, in the cloud, in the Drive cloud folder, that are ideas that I've sort of worked on, over the past, 10 years I've been doing this, that haven't come out as a formal playlist or topic. So, but I do have quite a bit of preliminary work on videos about this stuff. So when I get to it, I don't know, but I know what I will do. I already have data sets ready. I already have some basic storyboard outlines of videos ready. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. So, full-time job I have. And so YouTube I can only fit in when I have a little bit of extra time, which is not a whole lot, especially in the summer months because I'm just so busy with outside and stuff like that. But I will get to it eventually. I just don't know when. And right now YouTube ain't paying nothing. So, okay. Let's see here. Clyde says the channel will be there for me during the job too, I'm sure. Absolutely. So it will always be here, even if, I don't want this, but if I were not here for whatever reason anymore, the channel would still be there. So yes, I'll always be here as a resource for everybody. Okay. Congrats, Clyde. Absolutely. Yeah, Piper makes a good point. Getting in the door is super important. So just getting in the door, getting an opportunity, and then going in and sprinkling your magic dust everywhere and showing them your skills and abilities and your penchant for working with other people and meeting their goals and deadlines, but also being candid in conversations, with clients and so on is great. So congrats. That is awesome. All right. Piper says, I was a contractor for years, and once you know a lot of folks and they like working with you, you're in really good shape. Absolutely. Because especially nowadays, 80, 90% of new clients or new business is going to come from word of mouth. So I think, getting your foot in the door with a client or two opens up more doors to have, other clients. Plus you have, some artifacts of your work, some proof of your work. Then you have those references. And that's just how it builds, right? That's just how it builds. So, it's something I might like to do someday, is be just sort of on my own, doing my own thing. The hard thing about that in the United States, at least, in my opinion, from where I sit, is health insurance. It's really hard to go on your own because your health insurance is tied to your job for the most part.
But yeah, it's a great thing, obviously. All right, getting behind on the chat. So addressing Piper trip, Clyde says, I'd like being a contractor too, but the goal is full time. The company I mentioned is a startup, and they anticipate needing a full time mathematician as they grow. So, fingers crossed. Absolutely. So yeah, just every opportunity is an opportunity for furthering out your career. It's also a whetstone upon which you can sharpen certain skills. Some things you might want to put on the back burner. So every opportunity is also a whetstone to sharpen your edge. You know, your cognitive, mental, business, skill set. And eventually you have like a really sharp set of Ginsu skill knives, I guess. The metaphor, I'd beat this metaphor to death. But you know what I mean. So every opportunity is also a chance for refinement as well. And just like anything in life like that, another metaphor, the more swings you get at the ball, the better you get, so long as you reflect on each swing, successful or not. So more opportunities create more chances to hit that home run. So you just keep stepping up and swinging. Say yes to everything. Say yes to everything. If you're just starting out, say yes to everything. Even if you don't necessarily know how to do it, because you know you can learn the difference. A full-time or contractor networking is super important. Absolutely. Networking is super important. So obviously LinkedIn is a great place to do that virtually, but also, nowadays, now that, COVID will never be over, but now that we're somewhat back to normal, if there are any local events, local meetups, I know a lot of other creators in certain cities will have in-person meetups, like at a coffee shop or kind of like it's not really a bar, but like a outdoor type place, you know what I mean? They'll have local in-person meetups where you can go network in person. So always look for those opportunities to go to a conference potentially and network there. And then boom, 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 boom. You just have all these, different contacts that multiply. It's literally the network effect. That's what all this is built off of. But that happens in your life too. All right. Hopefully get the full-time gig. That would be meant. Absolutely. Relationship building is so important and fun. Absolutely. No, it sounds terrific. Thank you. You are very welcome. So I might squeeze in a few videos like that. I might squeeze in some videos on those topics. So it's much more efficient and easier for people like me, at least, doing the content I do on YouTube, to stick with a topic and run that topic out for as long as I can, because it's much harder to flip around to different topics, So obviously now that I'm in time series, each video kind of builds upon the next one. So it's easy for me to jump into the next one and then the next one, because it's just a continuous stream of content. But I might, who knows, release some introductory videos on those topics you mentioned. The other challenge is that once you start releasing videos for things, people will expect to have those videos to keep coming. And if I'm bouncing around different topics, I can't do each topic as frequently. And it becomes much more sporadic. And my goal on YouTube is to play the long game. My videos don't get many views at first, but over weeks and months and years, it just builds up steady and steady and steady. So I see myself as building like a library of content for people that will be there hopefully for years, that they can always come back to. Even though initially it's not going to have like huge numbers of views or anything like that, but it will always be there, evergreen content for people who need the help. Professor Rectini, healthcare is rubbish in the States, especially if you're self-employed. Yes, it is. It is very, very, very hard. Um, it's very, very perilous to go on your own, and then have to take care of your own health care, and one, be able to afford the premiums and deductibles and stuff. Um, and then the care often isn't that good because you're trying to do it on your own. So let's see. I agree. All right. If you were to do a course in Coursera, I would definitely pay for it, and so will many others. Well, I could consider doing that at some point. I've considered doing a Udemy course as well, but again, it's just a function of time. That being said, only partially kidding, partially true. You don't have to wait for there to be a course in Coursera to hit my tip jar. So, if you like the free content that's available, 311 videos worth, and you happen to have a few dollars here or there, super chats here on YouTube and PayPal tips are obviously welcome. That helps support my coffee habit that I will be doing after this video, helps me make videos. So you don't have to wait for a paid course on Coursera or Udemy to contribute to the cause. Okay? Of course, you don't have to, but you don't have to wait. Don't have to wait. All right. Lost my place in the chat. Where the hell was I? Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it was here. Do the course in Coursera, definitely pay for it, and also will many others. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing about this. There's only so much bandwidth for me to make content, period. So if I'm making a video for a Coursera or for a Udemy or whatever else, if I'm making a video for that, that means I'm not making a video for people on YouTube. I don't have time for both. It's a choice, right? So of the two, I've obviously for now, chosen to do the YouTube route and make it freely available to people, to learn. So that's the trade-off. I can't do both. All right. And I'm finding out, there's a lot of students all over the world that really rely on the content I put out. So it feels good to be able to do that without creating a relationship between me and my viewers that makes them customers, right? It changes the dynamic. Once you're trading money for something, it changes the dynamic of expectations. By just putting stuff on YouTube as is, say, here it is, like it or not, love it or leave it, that's easier to do. Okay. Let's see here. Piper says, one thing I'm starting to do is to read 2 texts on the same subject. Absolutely. The Cengage Intro Stats book is great for context and the basics. And then Probability and Inferential Stats by Hogg and Tennis is great for more mathematical rigor. Yes. So that book that you're referring to is this one. So this is, so for those of you who don't know, a couple things. This is the book I've used in my tutoring. I don't really tutor anymore, but when I did, this is the book I used like 3 editions ago. The caveat is that I now work for this company and I work on the team that makes this book. Like, that's my day job. I work with the team that makes this book. So when everyone asks, what book should I get or find used somewhere if I want like a good reference book for stats, this is it. Period. No equivocation. So I've used this book tutoring students for probably 10 years, more than 10 years. I've worked at this company for 9. So this is the book that Piper is referring to. This is the book to find. Put it on your shelf for your reference. If you ever have any stats questions you got to look up, is here. Now, is this book like super mathematical and complex? No, but that's the point. It's like an undergrad stats book. So if you want something with more mathematical in it, more mathematics in it, there are those. The ISL book is good. That's free. But this is the book right here. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Oh, and by the way, this book, this is the 14th edition. The 15th edition of this book will be delivered to my house today. So I will share with you the 15th edition next live stream. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I'm so far behind on the chat. Sorry. I've got that. Piper got that. I ran love from India. Love back. Hoping you start some playlist on data science and or business intelligence, BI. I wish, yeah, I wish I want to. Like I mentioned, there are many topics that Noah mentioned. I hope I'm saying that right. Noah mentioned that I have ideas for. It's just a matter of time, right? It's just a matter, I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what I want to do to get it started, right? I know like the first, I can see like into the horizon a bit. I don't know what I'm going to do after that, but I know what I will do. I have data sets already created and everything along those lines. Just a matter of time. So. All right, Piper's ditto on the Coursera thing. Yeah, I'd love to offer some paid courses on Udemy and or Coursera, but like I said, if I'm making videos for those, I'm not making videos for YouTube, which helps more people. And the barrier to entry on Coursera and Udemy is essentially zero. So there's no, there's so many other people doing similar things on there that I'm not sure it'd be enough to make it worth doing all that when I could just put the videos on YouTube and, help everybody. Plus they don't, from what I hear, they don't really pay a whole lot either. So all I'm doing is putting my content behind a paywall that doesn't really benefit anyone but Udemy or Coursera. So anyway. All right. Clyde says, I don't envy you guys in the States with your medical costs. But in Canada, our housing costs are becoming almost prohibitive. I think I'll move to Europe. Yeah, the medical, speaking of, this is not about stats, of course, but my primary care doctor just quit. The other doctor in that office quit. The NP quit. Then my dermatologist just quit. So yeah, I have good health insurance through my employer, but all the doctors are quitting. Or there's like 2, 3, 6 months wait. Like a dermatologist was like a 9-month wait. So yeah, there are trade-offs, right? They have healthcare, you got to have higher taxes to pay for it, and it's there are trade-offs with everything, of course, and housing costs here are insane as well. All right. Yeah, no free lunch these days. Absolutely, that is true, if there ever was. Sean says, I'm currently pursuing a WFM position in the company I work for. A lot of it involves forecasting, cost center staffing needs. So I'd love to see double, triple exponential smoothing, ARIMA, regression, and so forth. So, so up to this point, Sean, I've done regular exponential smoothing. That was, let's see here. Let me pull this up. Why is that still on there? Okay. So yeah, so I have regular exponential smoothing here. But as you mentioned, with double exponential smoothing, I'm working on that right now. So I'm working on Foltz double exponential smoothing video right now. When I leave here, I'm going to go do some more work on it at the coffee shop, and that will be out. Probably get to the triple version. Um, yeah, some of the stuff I got to refresh my memory on, of course. Of course, Arima, of course, I'll get to. One thing to realize is that when you get into more complex, what I'm finding out is when you get into complex things in time series, the simpler things are built in to those more complex things. You know, so in double exponential smoothing, depending on how you set alpha and beta, you end up with the naive forecast. So there's like this weird built-inness with time series. But anyway, so, and I have done 2 videos on the straight line model, and then the quadratic forecasting model. So those are there. But yes, I will get to other things as we go. Clyde says, 3 coffees. If I get that full-time position, I will celebrate with a healthy donation to your coffee fund. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm not bullcrapping you all either. Literally, if you all make a small donation or whatever donation you want to the PayPal tip jar, I literally take the PayPal and then refill my Starbucks app. It's like I just put it literally. It's literally pumping coffee into me to keep me going. So I don't. I put everything back into the channel in one way or another, so it helps out. So I'd be happy to buy you a coffee. No strings attached. Absolutely, I will take that. Let's see here. Pretty Woody says, I tried teaching my sister accounting, and I do understand the concepts. It was extremely difficult for her to grasp the concepts. Teaching the basics is most important. Thank you for the advice. Yeah, I mean, it's breaking these things down into the most simple ways of explaining. Obviously, you have to know where your learner is, so it's where it's meeting the learner sort of where they're at. And oftentimes, there are things that happen in our lives, just everyday life, through which we can teach some idea that we're trying to get across. So, accounting, if you think of it through the lens of our everyday life, how we transact with money and goods and saving and investing, and all these other things, then there's a way to approach teaching someone accounting, that's new to it, through just things that we do every day. And that's sort of the best way to start. Like the way I learned accounting back in the day was through my grandmother had a check binder. I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen those. It was like a 3-ring binder. It have on the one side it had like place for notes and all that kind of stuff. Then it had the checks you would tear out. Right, it was like a binder. So she, from old accounts that were closed, she would still keep the book of checks. So I learned like banking and like checking, like here's the starting balance and here's what I buy and then I deduct it over here and this, and I learned all that kind of stuff that way because it was just a binder of old checks in the closet, So there are ways to approach learning things by 1, meet the learner where they're at. 2, what do they already know? So what does the person I'm trying to explain something to or teach something to, what do they already know? 3, what are things around us that can be used to teach that sort of basic concept, whatever it might be? You could bring like play money, like Monopoly money. Things like Monopoly, right? So playing Monopoly, it has some faults, but playing things like Monopoly or Life or whatever else, playing those games growing up also taught me about money and accounting and investing and stuff like that. So, I mean, Monopoly is like the capitalist dream, right? I mean, that's, That's why it was invented. It was really it's a game of capitalism. But yeah, you can learn through that, right? Games. So just find ways to to meet the learner where they're at. Think of things in everyday life that can be used to teach those concepts, and then you could take like a book problem. Take the book problem and pull it out of the book, reimagine it, and then turn it into something tangible. It's also a good time to maybe learn some basic spreadsheet skills if they need that as well. So all right. So I read Statistics for Management by Rubin and Levin during an MBA, and that was quite good. I know most of the stats books, but I don't know if I have that one or not. Some of these books I put on my shelf, just to get a collection of. So I will definitely check it out. Absolutely. All right, where are we at? Okay, doing good. Awesome, thank you. You are very, very welcome. You are very welcome. And just hit the tip jar. Thanks for everything you do. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Hitting that PayPal tip jar to feed my coffee habit, which the coffee then turns into videos. So that's the way it sort of works. So I'm going to do just a few more minutes here. I'm interested. It's been a couple of weeks since we last talked. So one thing I do want to get your thoughts on, if you can, what have been some of your experiences using generative AI? It doesn't have to be ChatGPT. I always say ChatGTP. Sometimes I'll say ChatGPT, but you know what I mean. So what have been some of your experiences using generative AI tools, not only ChatGTP, but other ones? Put that in the chat. I'd like to hear some of your thoughts. Like I said, I've been using GTP. And now I'm going to get myself in a mental block with this. So I've been using it as an assistant. So if there's something that I need, summarized, or I'll tell you what another thing I did with it, which is interesting. So I'm getting into the generative AI voice sort of models. So what I did is, just to test it out, I had the chatbot specifically create text that was optimized to use for training an AI voice. So it would come up with these paragraphs that are freaking brilliant. So I'll give you just a little bit of one. Here's one of the generative AI paragraphs that it came up with for me to train a voice AI. So it says, on the picturesque shores of a serene lagoon, the golden sun cast its resplendent rays upon the crystalline water. The cerulean waves lapped gently against the pristine sands, leaving a trail of iridescent seashells in their wake. That's just a couple of sentences, right? So you can see that what it was doing was putting together very deliberately a series of words and sounds that were optimized to train a voice model. That's pretty damn cool, right? I could share that with you, but we got a lot of screens going on. So that was one thing I've used it for. I've used it to create some data, just some, I've used it to create some dummy data to use, but it's not like in final form. Like, it kind of created like an outline, and then I got to take it the rest of the, 75% more of the way. But it gave me a starting sort of, a nugget around which to build everything else, or a skeleton about which to do everything else. So I've been using ChatGTP for that. And it's been really good at doing those sorts of things, but it's not doing anything for me. It's just providing assistance, like an assistant. And I've been kind of using it, for that. But the generative AI voice thing is pretty cool. I'm still kind of learning how that works. And then some of the image tools like Midjourney and so on and so forth. You could just, sometimes it's just awe-inspiring just to sign in to Discord and go to the Midjourney page and just watch what people are coming up with. It is freaking cool. It's like a random incredible slideshow of like just stuff that's really, really cool. Sometimes it's just, you see the thing going blah, 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 just flipping through and all these cool images popping up. It's really incredible. So I've been using the AI sort of tools for that. But also companies like, obviously, Google and Microsoft and Canva and some other companies are building the tools into their other platforms. And I think that's really sort of the next phase, right? So Google Docs, you're going to have Bard in there. If you go to Microsoft, you're going to have the Bing powered one in there. If you go to Canva, does Canva use GPT, I think? So, or its own. So it has Magic Write in there. So the integration of generative AI into pre-existing platforms is really sort of the next phase of this. So I'm interested to see where it goes. You know, whether we like it or not, it's here. But I will say this: with all this technology, you know, we don't have a data problem. We have all the data in the world we could ever imagine having. We have all the tools in the world for analyzing that data that we could ever imagine, most of which are free. It's not a data or a tool problem. The problem is us. The problem is us. So whether or not we take the data we have, the tools we have, to what ends we put them, the problem is us, in my personal view. So hopefully we'll work on the us part in addition to the technology part, because we have all the technology and data. Like we know how to help with a warming planet. We know what to do. We just don't have the will to do it yet. We have the tools and the data, but we don't know but the problem is us. Collectively, us. So anyway, that's a diatribe. That the generative AI tools and all those things are just one part of an equation to put them to some better use. All right. So this is your last chance. Comments, questions, whatever, put them in the chat right now, because in the next couple of minutes, we're going to end this and let you get on with your day, and I'm going to get on with my day, and it will be fabulous. So now is your chance. Now is your chance. So while I'm waiting for any last minute comments or questions, just to reiterate, should have a new video coming out next week on Foltz double exponential model. We'll see how far I get today on it. So be looking out for that next week. And then after that, I'll have to see what topic I want to do after that, but more will be coming. And then we'll have our next, here's a question. So Piper asks, what do you think about the pause and the open letter with respect to generative AI? I think while well-intentioned, I think it's good to write, because I think just the fact of putting that, and this is the thing, always speak up. So just the fact of putting that letter out gives something for all of us to chew on and to think about. You know, what the problem with this letter is it should have come out a year ago or even 6 months ago when GPT-3 was already out. The fact that this come out now, it's too late. The cat is already out of the bag. The genie is out of the bottle. You cannot put it back in. The toothpaste is squeezed out. Keep using your favorite metaphor. So the pause is not realistic. It ain't going to happen. For the pause to work, it would have to be a global pause. That ain't going to happen. Some people would choose to pause, some people would not choose to pause. So this, it's too little too late is what it is. It's worth having and worth reading and worth talking about, Absolutely. And it might inform decisions we make about these tools in the future. But it's too you can't it's too late. It's too late. So when this thing sparks, if it isn't already, AGI, it's already teaching itself things that it wasn't programmed to teach itself, or learning things that wasn't programmed to learn. We're close to there, right? We're close to there. So the letter is important. It's worth thinking about, but it's too little, too late. All right. Clyde, thanks for being awesome. Enjoy your coffee today. I will enjoy my coffee. I've not had any coffee yet, and it's 1 p.m., so I need my coffee, which I will get in the next probably 15 minutes. All right. So, what else? Yep. So just keep in mind, last thing I'm going to say, and we're going to sign off. That is not the one I wanted, this one. Keep in mind, I do have a little website here where you can find things if you need to. You can find certain playlists. All my playlists are here for the stats list. I'll put the time series ones here eventually, but all the stats lists are here. It'll tell you how long they are, how many videos are in the playlist. So if you're looking for a specific topic, this will tell you, and then if you click on that, I'll take you right to that playlist, okay? Also, if you're looking for the PDF companion guides, these are it's 4 guides that I sell to help support the channel. It's hundreds and thousands of pages if you buy all of them. I don't know how much longer I'll offer these, because honestly, the cost of hosting this to sell them actually is costing as much, if not more, than what I make. So I don't know if I'll keep offering these for sale, but those are there. All the downloads. If you're working on if you're watching a video that has a download with it, you can find the downloads here on this downloads page. It's all under the YouTube here. So those are there if you're looking for one of them. And then there's also a question form here. So if leading up to the live stream, if you have a question, you can send it this way also ahead of time. I will try to answer it, even if you're not in the stream or not. I will try to answer it. I'll say, I got a question from, my website about this, and I'll answer it regardless of whether or not you're necessarily in the stream. And then you can go back and watch the replay to see me answer your question, okay? Also, I do recommend this resource for time series if you are interested in it. Is here. So this is a great resource for time series learning. It is based with R, and they have added a ton of stuff to it since I've been through it. So you can find that here as well. So obviously they have a whole chapter on exponential smoothing, so on and so forth. So again, it's all R-based. But yeah, it's a great resource. And I've been learning a lot of R as well. So in the description of this video, I've pasted the R resources I've been learning from. You can find those there also. All right. Okay. So let's wrap this up. So Pretty Woody says, tip for YouTube content, focus on the basics of bigger audience. Absolutely. And that's my specialty. My specialty in teaching is to have a student, or I'm tutoring them or whatever else, come to me when they don't really know anything, or they're confused or whatever else. And we start at the bottom and then we go up. That's kind of my specialty anyway. But yeah, I agree. I agree that, on YouTube, as far as audience goes, the more broad you cast your net, you tend to have a bigger audience. But on the flip side of that is that other YouTubers have the same idea. So sometimes if you can niche down a little bit, you can find a sweet spot between the two. And that's kind of what I've done as well. So, all right, tip in the jar. Cheers. Thank you very much, Piper Trip. I appreciate everyone that's dropped a tip in the tip jar. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go up and start pouring some coffee down my gullet and get some work done. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to be back here again in 2 weeks, which is May 6th. So Saturday, May 6th. Barring anything weird that happens, we'll be right back here doing the same thing. So make sure you bring your questions, your comments, and we'll celebrate. Yeah, I want everyone that comes back, everyone in this live stream this week, in 2 weeks, I want you to come back if you can. And if you do come back, I want you to bring a win. So just like Clyde did, everyone bring back to this live stream a win that's happened recently. And let us all like celebrate that, okay? So come back with a win in 2 weeks. No matter how small you think it might be, a win is a win. You know, maybe it's explaining accounting to your sibling and they got it, or a job opportunity, or, you know, a grade or you were hoping to get, or you always wanted to run 5 kilometers, but you could only do 4 until now, and you ran 5. So come back with a win, whatever it is. We'll celebrate it. Okay? All right. So everybody, thank you so much for your time. You are all wonderful and beautiful people. And I hope you have a great next couple of weeks. And I will see you again then on May 6th. So take care of yourself, take care of each other, and of course, on Earth Day, take care of our planet. Thank you. I'll see you later.